What's up, guys? This is episode 12 of Unkaged podcast. Today, we're going to be doing a interview style video with our first guest, actually, which is going to be...
Hi, it's Chris.
There
Chris
you go,
Diaz.
guys. Chris. He's the one that actually is helping us set up this insane setup that we have right now. And this is going to be awesome. So, because, you guys are going to get a different angle of how we actually do this. So this will probably be like the same setup that we probably do for other interview style videos. But yeah, let's kick it off. What is today's subject then?
I'm taking over the podcast now as producer. I'm also going to be, I'm really honored to be your guys' first guest. I did not know that.
You definitely are, bro.
So basically, I'll give you guys a little background. I have been a 3-sport athlete, not super committed to each sport, but I like to dabble in a little bit of a couple things. Actually, in fact, I did pole vaulting with Omar many years ago.
I sucked at pole vaulting, bro.
Hey, you taught me, bro. If you can teach someone one thing, you're capable of teaching them.
Yeah.
But basically, the angle I'm coming from it is I don't know enough about bodybuilding or powerlifting as these guys do because they're exceptional. But I think I know enough or a little bit more than the average person. So I want to come in with some questions from a layman and just kind of get a better idea of what it would take to get into the sport and what you can get out of the cage because I love you guys. So yeah, that's basically it.
Love you too, bro.
We love you.
Thank you.
One thing that's kicking it off for me is I noticed that some of my friends and people like that I admire, everyone's going into shows right now. So for the average person, what is the extensiveness of training for a prep to go on stage? Like all the pictures that are behind you guys. Again, I don't know. Treat me as I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
I think it's a big time commitment. Like, first and foremost is like, you are not only going to dedicate at least 8, 12, 16 weeks of your time to doing a bodybuilding prep, but like within that 12, 16 weeks, it's almost like a full-time job. Like, you really want to go into it thinking of it like, hey, you're taking on a secondary full-time job because you need to be on top of everything when you're on a bodybuilding prep. You need, especially if you want to be competitive and you want to show up on stage in the best shape as possible, right? Which should be the goal for, in my opinion, for a competitor, right?
Okay.
Show up to stage in the best shape possible. So that means you need to be on top of sleep. So you need to be sleeping 7, 8 hours a night. If you're somebody that skimps out on sleep or catches up on sleep on the weekends, that's not going to be a viable option. You're going to suffer so much on a prep.
So to work hard, you got to sleep more.
You have to sleep more. You have to
Absolutely.
recover. One thing I think that just kind of touching off that is a lot of competitors getting into like the last couple of weeks of prep, their sleep does suffer just because they're in a deficit, they're hungrier. But I also think that in general, fatigue ramps up higher.
Okay.
And a lot of the times, like that food fatigue, that food noise that you end up getting around the end of a prep can be helped by just getting better sleep. A lot of that
100%.
fatigue that you feel, right, might be better to refeed or whatever. It actually might just be better put towards sleep and just taking more time off from training. So a lot of people think that like when they head into training for a prep, they think that intensity has to just ramp up higher until you're at the end of a prep and you're doing so much, right, to get in shape. But in reality, it's almost like there is a peak of intensity, but there's also modulation within that volume as you head towards like those leaner levels of body fat. So it's not necessarily like you're just like starting here at a level of intensity at the beginning of a prep and then at the end you're like here.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, it should be kind of like a slight peak and then almost like a trough of just trying to maintain the tissue that you can.
That's
and
kind
the
of like
volume
cross country training where like you do a lot of your training up for a marathon or up for a race and then like the few days before you just rest.
Yeah.
And some athletes go overboard and all they do is snack, but you kind of just like let your body just chill.
It's like the same thing with powerlifting, right? Like powerlifters are the same thing. Like they work up towards a certain level of intensity and then like the last week or 2 weeks,
Taper off.
they just chill, they chill and then they don't try to max or anywhere in between their max. It's just kind of like whatever shows up on meet day, that's what they're at, So
That's fair.
Yeah.
Omar, you said if you're going to take it competitively and if you do it, you should take it competitively. What if you're like me and you just want some more dad lore right now? What if I just want to go on stage because I just
I mean,
wanna do
that's
it?
perfectly fine. If that's your goal, then just understand that you're not going to show up in the best shape as possible when you step on stage. Which, like, I'm not knocking it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If that's your goal, that's you. That's you. But if you're already I think if you're already going to put all this time, all this energy, all this money, all this effort into doing something, you might as well do it 110%. That's just the way I am. Like, if I'm going to choose to do something, I always want to do it, especially like a sport endeavor, right? Something like this. Like, I want to do it 110%. I mean, the only way is to be fully committed to it. And so,
If you want to succeed?
if you
or-
want to succeed,
Okay,
yes. If
okay.
you want to succeed. Otherwise, I mean, like, if it's just for the experience of it, great. For the experience of it.
Shit, I'm thinking about doing that myself.
Just go in.
You could,
yeah.
you could always do
Yeah.
a transformation category, bro.
Yeah.
Nowadays, there's shows that not just. I mean, you don't have to do the original open bodybuilding, classic physique bodybuilding.
Yeah,
There's like transformation categories that just take the person that's was super maybe out of shape at a certain point, and they lost like 200 pounds.
A lot of shows do that.
So
now,
they do that, and I mean those people obviously they're weight loss people usually,
I see,
right?
okay.
And so a lot of them aren't in crazy bodybuilding conditioning, but they just reward the person that put in the most amount of work, right?
Remind me. So go back to the tiers. Usually people have an open, a classic, what does that mean?
So men's for men's bodybuilding, you have men's physique, which is the guys with the board shorts. You have men's classic physique, which is the sebum category, right? So the guys that have almost the briefs, the black briefs.
Are they the ones where you're supposed to look more like a golden era?
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of
okay.
them are more. They just have more
Schwarzenegger.
flow to their physiques. They're a little bit
Generally
tighter
prettier
waisted.
physiques.
Prettier physiques, more
Okay.
aesthetic physiques. And then there's open bodybuilding, which is the OG class of bodybuilding, which is where honestly a lot of the guys like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like Mike Menser, like Lou Ferrigno, all those guys were open bodybuilders. There was no classic physique back then. That was just open.
That was just
right?
the standard.
Okay,
then.
that's
standard
really
back
good
then.
to understand.
Yeah.
You mentioned powerlifting, right? And I think that's something that, at least in my experience, people gloss over at the Kage Gym because everything I've seen is bodybuilding. Can you help differentiate what exactly is the difference between bodybuilding and powerlifting?
For sure. Bodybuilding is the sport where you're building your body, right? You're trying to become it's a pageant show in a sense, right?
Greek
you're trying
statue.
you're trying to become a Greek statue.
Sculpting yourself?
Yeah, sculpting yourself,
okay.
exactly. Whereas powerlifting, you're trying to get as strong as possible in 3 different lifts, right? Bench, squat, and deadlift. And so, that's the difference, right? Bodybuilding is a physique sport, whereas powerlifting is a strength sport. So, very different. There's a lot of crossover into how bodybuilders and powerlifters train.
Okay.
But generally, yes, powerlifters are going to focus on the 3 big compounds that they're going to perform at their meets, right? So squat, bench, and deadlift. In terms of the Kage Gym, we are primarily a bodybuilding gym. That's what our equipment reflects. But we have been pushing towards accommodating our powerlifters. The bench event that we're gonna have on May 22nd is for them. So
I gotta disagree with you there, right there. You said that's where your equipment, dude. At the end of the day, it's just a tool, right?
Yeah,
I think
for
it
sure.
reflects it because of the community here. Because I've never been to a gym. I've been to a lot of gyms.
I mean,
I've never been to a gym that the community reflects oh yeah, these guys they're 100% going for it, without a little bit of what you would call kind of a toxic mentality too. Because some people go hard in whatever sport they do, but then there's a bit of do we allow this outsider in?
It's who we attract, right? Our community attracts more bodybuilders than anybody else. People that want to get in shape.
Take training more seriously in general.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether you're just starting out in the gym or whether you're doing it for a sport. I think it's just more niche in the fact that people here just kind of look at us like the more serious gym as opposed to Planet Fitness or LA or something like that.
I was saying it doesn't feel like there's an outsider mentality or anything like that going on here. It feels welcoming. So props to you guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm speed running questions. I'm just trying to get in all this.
You're interviewing us today, bro.
I mean,
No,
one thing I was going to say too,
Yeah.
kind of going off of that question that you said, powerlifting versus bodybuilding, I do think that they both share a importance with each other. I think regardless of whether you're trying to see what to start or whether you want to be a powerlifter, bodybuilder, whatever, I think at the end of the day, they both have the same principles in place in the beginning, which is just get strong, do something consistently, and ultimately do it for a long period of time until you get to see the results. But at the end of the day, both of them in the beginning are the same. You're just trying to get stronger ultimately.
So they tend to stay in very similar circles. There's a lot of crossover in both sports.
At some point they'll taper off, right? Because at one point as a powerlifter, you're gonna have to chase strength, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes that might not be doing sets of 10, 12, or 15 or something like a bodybuilder would or something.
That's why I find it interesting when you're saying bodybuilding is also get strong, because contrary to popular, but to most people, when these athletes are on stage, that's actually it looks to me that's the weakest stage they're in.
They are, yeah. No, I think bodybuilding in general, at the peak of a show, all those people on stage are ultimately at their weakest. They are
Yeah.
definitely like,
but they look their best. It's
but they
weird.
look their best, yeah. But a lot of them are just, if you're talking about a natural
Yeah.
bodybuilder going up on stage, a lot of them are like at their lowest body weight ever. They look crazy because if they have a decent amount of muscle mass and they're lean enough, you can see all that. Yeah.
Amazing.
But it's not necessarily like they're going to be hitting like their top lifts during that.
What does that look like? The 50 hours leading up to a show, is it true that they only drink like 8 hours of coffee and that's 8 ounces of coffee? And
I
that's
think like dehydration, I think is like, and it depends on your level of conditioning, really. In my opinion, this is how I coach my athletes. Like, I don't think there needs to be you don't want to be dehydrated. Like if you're trying to fill out an athlete and they're lean enough, like you need water to shuttle carbohydrates into the muscle and actually fill out. So you don't want to be completely dehydrated, but I do understand the principle behind like having a water tape off a day or two before a competitor stepping on stage to them sort of fill them out on show day. There is like some like rationale behind that, but for the most part, like shit, bro, throughout an entire prep, water stays consistent. You know, like I'm not dehydrating anybody that crazy. You know?
the thing is, when going on stage, to me,
it's not like a fighter.
It looks like hell because with wrestling, you dehydrate, then you just rehydrate after the weigh-in.
Yeah.
No, you guys have to stay that way.
And big part of that is because they are chasing a weigh-in, whereas like for most bodybuilders, especially at a natural level and at an amateur level, you're not hitting anywhere near your weight cap. So
listen, all
you
I'm
don't have
saying
to
is
chase a certain weight.
I'm grateful I don't have to munch on nothing but sunflower seeds for weigh-in.
Yeah.
Because that's what that was. Shit was like for wrestling. I did not like that shit, dude.
Chew like sucking on the sunflower salt.
Dude,
seed, yeah.
yeah, that's all you were allowed. You weren't allowed to swallow. You just had to
And you
spit
spin it
out.
in a cup. Yeah.
Pause. What,
You know-
maybe?
You know, a lot of the times though, like wrestlers and people that are in those backgrounds end up doing very well with bodybuilding.
Yeah,
It's because there's a
client-
discipline to it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
it's
discipline
like-
to it, but you're also used to starving. Like
Yeah.
you're used to like having those drastic weight reductions. I mean, obviously after, right, you rebound, whatever. But I think for the most part, you build that mental, almost like that mental fortitude to go through those periods, knowing that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, which is basically what bodybuilding is. But
Yeah.
you're just gonna. I mean, you have a timeline though. You have a timeline.
It's easier when you have
Exactly.
a timeline. It's like you guys. No, never mind. I'm not gonna talk down the rabbit hole. Actually, I will. You know when as celebrities or people say like they wake up at 3 a.m. every day and they're like
Mark
have-
Wahlberg. Yeah.
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 Spend 16 minutes with his kids, right?
Yeah.
But it's like that shit. It's on a timeline. It's you did that all like year round 360. I don't know if many people could survive that.
Yeah.
I think it's also sort of disingenuous to say that that's exactly your routine every single day because it's not.
Yeah, because life is.
Come on now. Like,
constant.
Hey, you know what? It depends on
But
the
it-
person, man. It
Yeah.
depends on the person. I've met very individual. The thing is that most people try to embody that that's who they think they are, but they're not. I think the average person is definitely not going to have like a crazy routine like Mark Wahlberg or The Rock or something like that. But I do know individuals right now that I coach that have very unique
Routines,
structures to their days. I'm one of those people. Like, I feel like in general, like I have to get up, I have to do my cardio, there's certain things that I have to set in place in order for me to feel good that some other person, like the average person, would just be like, dude, you're freaking crazy. Like,
Well, even us as
wouldn't do
business owners, like you can't keep it. You make your own routine. You can't keep it. It's like it's hard.
There's a level of stress tolerance that you have to have, right? And I
Yeah.
don't think the average person like just understands that there's levels to that, right? Like there's somebody that can handle this amount of stress. There's other people that can only handle this amount, right? And so, you can build that. You can build it just like any other muscle group, right? Like your level of stress tolerance, I think
your
over
stress
time
is a
can-
muscle, bro.
Exactly.
Really?
Yeah. Like
Your
your
stress is
stress
a
is
muscle.
100%.
Yeah, like you can increase your stress tolerance over time for sure. Like
Well, what if
the
I
more
don't want a cortisol max?
you gotta do it a little bit, bro. Like you gotta put yourself in stressful, hard situations in order to be able to handle hard, stressful situations. There's no way around it, right? Just like building a muscle, like you need to put more load on that muscle. Like it needs a new adaptation for it to grow. Otherwise, it's not gonna grow. So same thing with your stress. Like you just need to take on more responsibility, do harder shit.
And eventually that harder stuff becomes easier, right? So
It
like
becomes a new normal.
exactly. Like I think one very good thing that so like me and Omar were both in we did door-to-door sales. That's what we did long time ago.
Real estate and
Well, no, we just sold newspapers.
No, we sold newspaper, yeah.
Door-to-door,
I worked
yeah.
under him for
Yeah.
a couple of years. Yeah.
what did you guys sell
So-
newspapers for?
The Chicago Tribune.
Chicago Tribune, yeah.
Tribune.
So during that time frame, right? Like the average teenager or person in their young 20s, right? Is probably going to get a part-time job working somewhere. It doesn't matter, a factory, fast food, whatever. we took it under our belt to basically work a job that would pay us only commission, right? To the average teenager or whatever, that's crazy, right? Because you're like, why am I going to risk not getting money or whatever, right?
Yeah, I'm going to waste my time.
That's a level of stress tolerance that we learned from a very young age. Because if you didn't sell anything, you didn't eat, you didn't get anything, you know, you didn't make any money. And so I think that was something that helped, almost that mental fortitude to then add on more to that as you kind of get older, right? So I think that's a big thing that I think that just helps
from like a
in
business
general.
perspective.
Yeah,
Like
right?
definitely like sales is huge. Yeah, because I mean, if you don't put in the effort, if you don't try to make a sale, you're not gonna. Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna make any money. So
I never thought about it like that because you guys know. So you guys business owners, like kind of in the business owner, basically freelance. But I guess I never realized that if I don't go to work, you don't eat.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, and yeah, you deal with rejection. Now, I wasn't in real estate. I have a bunch of realtors as clients, and sometimes you argue back and forth about stuff that doesn't matter. But yeah, you have to be able to deal with rejection. I guess I never realized.
Because if you don't get a client and no one books you to shoot anything, well, where's the money come from?
Because there will be days, bro, and I mean, I've had days, weeks, even months where, you know, I mean, you talk to so many people and you go through so many pitches, you're trying to sell and you get nothing, right? You're left dry.
Yeah.
And that is stressful. But
and no one sees it too.
Yeah, you know, but you keep pushing through it, right? And that is building the stress tolerance. That's building the stress muscle is like, and over time you just get better, right? So like, I mean, at this point now you know, it's a lot easier for us to sell because we already went through it at a really early age, but yeah, I mean, shit, bro. You just gotta do hard stuff.
You know, I think the thing that got me over, like, selling, because I didn't want to sell people. At the beginning, it's hard to charge for something you love to do. But at the end of the day, it's like, the way I see it is like, I'm not scamming anyone. I'm coming at it from a place of value, so I don't ever have a problem. Like, hey, if you want this, and I know the results that'll bring you, if you want this, it's going to cost this much. Because I'm not willing to work for free for you to make money. Like, you know, it's
I know what you're worth.
Yeah, you got to know your worth. I've said this before, like, energy is a currency, and so where you put it, like, you only have so much. Gentlemen, I want to be respectful of your time. For the rest of this episode, I want to go into a conversation that I've been dealing with myself about not exactly knowing what to do. So I said in the beginning of this episode that I was a 3-sport athlete. I did a mixture of wrestling, track, cross country, and, you know, just whenever I can dip my toes in something else, I'll do that. Since high school, and I feel a lot of other athletes are in the same shoes as I, your amount of steps every day goes down. You have less of a routine, depending on whatever happens in life, so you may be overeating more. And even though you might have been in a stage where you could have been healthy or considered creme of the creme, you're maybe just kind of average, overweight, or just don't know what to do. To someone who's in my shoes like that, what would you recommend for them, maybe in 2 tiers, on a, hey, let's get to a baseline of healthy or athletic, and maybe something above that? What would you recommend to someone in that sort of situation?
So basically, you're in a position like where you're just trying to get back into it.
Yeah,
to a degree.
Yeah, post school, you because obviously there's less programs when you're like out of school here in the United States.
I think baby steps. Like, don't put too much on your plate that you know you can't handle. Like, don't expect to go from doing no activity like 0 to 100 like that. Like, take it in little increments. Like, if you can start today implementing some sort of a positive habit, start with that, right? Start with one thing, get consistent with it over the course of a couple of days or a week, 2 weeks, add on more. And it's that slow accumulation of habits and you know, positive things that you're doing that is going to over time compound and add up to, you know, the big result. So it's all a journey, it's all a process. It depending on what your goal is. I know earlier we spoke off camera, we spoke about you wanting to do a triathlon. Yeah. And if that's something that like you're not necessarily initiated with yet and you want to start, shit, bro, go on the bike. It's not going to take the whole 50 miles or 25 miles that you're going to be doing in the triathlon, but it could be a couple of miles. It could be 2 or 3 miles. Do that every day.
I like that you bring up the baby steps because I've been to not a community gym, like a big gym. And it was weird because I've been there and I've taken friends there. And it's like, okay, we're going to get you here. We have a program running right now where if you lose this much weight by this much time, you get your money back. We also offer a meal plan if you want to subscribe to that. Also, we have supplements if you want to do that. And it's like, that's a lot for a person to take on, especially if they don't know what they're doing. Yeah. So I'm glad you bring that up.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, especially in those commercial settings, are generally promised they're overpromised and under-delivered, and to an extent it's their fault because they're just easily convinced, but at the same time it's not, because they are, it's a sales tactic. They are promised all these things like, oh, these supplements and this meal plan is going to help you get that at 100, so you're already going to make your money back. But it's like the average person doesn't know, right? They don't know that the supplements aren't going to carry it, and that the basic meal plan isn't going to carry it. It's the actual commitment to it, right? It's the actual execution of the program, of the plan. And for a lot of people, that's the struggle, right? It's not necessarily even like, because you can give most people a meal plan and a training program, and unless they are committed to it, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can give them all the information, but if they're not committed, if they don't want to make the change, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I think it also depends on like how your psychology is with results, right?
Okay.
Like, I've had multiple clients that love that steady, slow approach, right? And I think for a lot of beginners, I think that's cool, right? Just focusing on the small habits. But for example, me, I'm all in or I'm all out when it comes to dieting, or when it comes to entering a phase where I have to push or maybe get myself into it.
Yeah.
I need to see the results quick. I'm very fast to just not stick to something if I don't see it working initially.
Okay.
And so for those aggressive people that need to see more of that change faster, you need to put yourself in an environment that's going to push you. You know what I mean? Whether that's working out with somebody that knows more than you, maybe getting a coach or a trainer that actually can push you to that level or something, but sometimes it helps to be in an environment where other people are working hard too as well, and or giving you that information that you need in order to make a difference faster,
Yeah.
So I think it all depends on that too as well, because I do think that if you are somebody that has done something in the past already, like you have done this before, like you have pushed yourself to a level where most average people don't, and you want to be a little bit more aggressive, be more aggressive, like, get into it, like start with that. It might suck the first couple of weeks, you might be a little sore, but you'll get over it and you'll progress that little bit of extra fast.
I think as long as your psychology allows it, and like you're able to mitigate that burnout that a lot of people might get from taking an approach like that, then yeah, absolutely. Like,
And this approach is for like a 12-week timeline again to do something more.
I think it just
aggressive?
depends on your personality, bro. Like seriously, like I think it's like if you're a guy like Gonza, like like seeing that results gets you more motivated to do even more.
Yeah.
Fucking do it. Like that's your psychology. That's how your brain sort of works. Approach it that way. So that's like just two different approaches, right? Not everybody is like that. Some people need a more slow and steady approach. Some people, if they go too aggressive right away, they might burn out, right? They might not be able to sustain it because they just feel like crap. They feel like shit. So,
Yeah, because like back to the commercial gym thing, like the way that I recommend my friends when they ask is like, just dial into fitness 100%. Just dial in first. Forget about food. Forget about supplements. That's what I tell them. I'm not certified, by the way, anyone watching. And then once you have the fitness dialed down, once you show up on a pretty consistent basis and figure out your workouts, then sort out the food. And once the food starts sorted out, then you start supplements. But that's what I'm coming from. Like that's coming from the layman. Because I've had a friend where I threw everything at them, and that was bad on me. Because then they're like, no, this is too much. I don't care. I'd rather live like this, because the pain of being unhealthy is less painful than the pain of progression. So they're fine.
And learning,
And it's
like information overload.
Yeah.
Information overload. Yeah. Like too much thrown in. And that is true. That does happen to a lot of beginners. I remember me starting out when I first started coaching. I think this was probably back in like 2018. Like I was just messing around with some friends. I was giving them plans. I thought, since I had learned this way of me being given a nutrition plan, training plan, and me already have been in the gym for a while at that point, like I could get the hang of this. I could follow a plan. I could follow a structure. I liked it. It was dope, right? I thought I could do that for everyone. I thought in the beginning, and I started doing this. I started giving plans out to my friends. I was like, there's your nutrition. Here's your training. This is how much cardio you're doing. That's how much, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for a lot of them, like, and don't get me wrong, some of them would follow it. They'd see amazing results. Great. Worked well for them. They had a very soldier-like mentality. They just needed a plan. They could do it.
Yeah.
A lot of them were more adept, right? They've been in it longer. The new beginners, they would like they would just ghost you. Like they wouldn't even say anything. Some of them would just be like, "Oh yeah, dude, like yeah, I'm gonna start it next time," or blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like, and I started understanding that like a lot of this was just that it was information overload. It was too much on their plate in order for them to really get a grasp on it and like make it like accessible every day, because they were kind of going from like being at home, not even having a gym membership, not even grocery shopping for themselves, to now having a full-blown meal plan, full-blown like training plan, and it's like they haven't even started step 1 yet, which is get a gym membership, get like a, you know, understand how grocery shopping works, right? And I think that's just something that a lot of the times it just comes due to our own negligence of thinking that like just because it's normal for us, right? It might be normal for the average person, but it's not, you know? So
part of being a good coach is like understanding that different personalities learn differently, and not everybody is adept to learn one way.
Exactly.
And yeah, I mean, you just have to take a different approach with different people, because everybody's unique in their way of learning, in their way of thinking.
I like that you guys bring that up, because there genuinely is levels to this shit.
100%.
But it's like, you know what? I never really considered the personality types, because you brought up a good point. Like, sometimes people just have to go in. Like, I remember when I trained MMA, when I got into MMA, I told them, like, honestly, give me someone difficult, let me roll, let me feel dehydrated as shit, and then I have a benchmark for what I'm capable of, and then we'll get back into it. But like, I threw myself into the wolves, whereas someone else, you know, there needs to be smaller steps, and that's just because like, you know, you want to avoid injury too. I kind of did something stupid.
I think that's also why you need to have a good relationship with, like, if you do have a coach, like having a good relationship and having good rapport, and like just having somebody that you can genuinely get along with is so important and so valuable. Because if not, I mean, because you're just gonna be butting heads, right? And like, yeah, I mean, I've had clients like that where like there's particular personalities that I can't coach because we're just butting heads. So.
Yeah, it's all psychology at the end of the day, right? Like whatever way that you choose to progress or however you want to measure that progress is completely up to you.
There's a million ways to the same end.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong way.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's just a matter of what applies to you and how well you can get that information across to actually make a difference, to do the things that you need to do in order to make, you know, a difference within yourself, whether it's with nutrition, training, like lifestyle factors, all that stuff just falls very big on how you think of it. And whatever works with you will work with you for a lifetime, I think. Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, I'm going to give you guys a few quick questions, and then I think we could wrap up the episode.
Solid.
I'll stop hijacking. Okay, what is the average amount of steps that someone should be taking a day? I know 10,000 is not the correct
I think
number.
the average American, I read the statistic somewhere, I'm not sure where. I think the average American like has like 3,000 to 4,000 steps a day. That is like maybe,
That's low.
That's really, really low. That's maybe a mile and a half.
Are we supposed to hit minimum of 6,000?
Not necessarily.
that
I think it depends. Like every single question that you will ever ask related to fitness or nutrition is always going to start with a baseline of it depends. Everybody's different. There's so much nuance.
Just give me
right?
a number, Omar.
So like, I think like
number.
If you're
10K is good.
like 10K,
I think
10K
10K
for
is
most people, I think is pretty good.
The reason I've been thinking about this recently is because like biomechanics, theology, like we will talk about God or anything. I'm a believer in God, but let's go back to body, right? We evolved for a reason. We evolved to be endurance creatures. Like persistence is the superhuman ability of
We're not meant to sit for so long.
That's what I'm saying. Like how many steps?
Like
I think 10,000.
10,000
Honestly,
is a-
10K.
Okay,
And here's the thing, right? With 10,000 steps, average, right? A human being that weighs anywhere from like 150 to like 180 pounds, I would say, you're roughly going to be burning anywhere from like 200 upwards of like 400 calories, depending on like how big of a human being you are. Okay. I think that sets a baseline to, one, obviously excrete some calories, right? Creating some kind of deficit, which I'd say majority of people in the US would take advantage from just expending more calories in general than being sedentary most of the time. But I think that 10K is that baseline for most people.
Okay.
Like that's decent activity. If you want to be better, shoot for the 12 to 15K. I think that's solid. 20K and up, which you do see some people do, that's like exceeding limits. That's usually some people that you see like on a prep, like bodybuilding prep type stuff. You know what I mean? Like
I went through a
20K
phase
plus
where I
stuff.
tried to hit 26,000 steps every day because
you're gonna be walking all day, bro.
Yeah, it was
you're gonna be
basically a
walking all day.
hobby.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Gons, thank you for giving me the answer. Hot takes from each of you. What is one item that people consume, or the drink, I guess that's also consume, that you would absolutely advocate that we stop? One item from each.
Oh
of you,
man,
please.
plastic water bottles. I'm so guilty of it.
You eat the bottle?
No. I just like, I mean, there's now, and it's not conclusive, but it's, in my opinion, it is like, you're gonna hear so many different schools of thought when it comes to this, but like the microplastics and the plastic that is in these water bottles,
I believe it.
reduce like testosterone in men.
Yeah.
I adhere to that belief. So,
I saw.
of course, again, like I'm guilty of it. Like
Yeah.
there's sort of no getting away from this. It's the easiest, most readily available way to fucking drink water. But it would be so cool to see a society where these are gone and everybody, like, I don't know, glass bottles or some shit. I don't know, dude. That's honestly probably the best is glass bottles.
I saw a comedy bit the other day, a stand-up bit, and I don't remember from who. Whereas like 100% of all males have microplastic in their balls nowadays.
Yeah.
Think about it. Even
Not surprised.
the billionaires have microplastic in their balls. Guys, we did it. Everyone's fucking contaminated nowadays.
Let's go.
Gonzalo, what is your answer? One item. Also,
item.
water bottles is crazy. I don't want to gloss over that. But it's insane.
Yeah. I mean,
One item. Damn, what is something that...
it would reduce the availability of like water to a lot of people, you know. So like it is useful. Like this is a miracle right here. Like this thing
Yeah.
right here, like being able to give water to anybody in any country anywhere. But yeah, I mean, I think we've progressed far enough at this point where we can now, like, as a society, like, fuck plastic water bottles. Let's start drinking out of glass or metal, or not. Yeah.
Thank you for stalling. Gonzalo, your answer.
Okay, so after thinking about it for a little bit, I would have to say the biggest thing that I'd probably say that most people should get rid of is just anything that's like super palatable to eat, man.
What does
Like,
palatable mean?
palatable, like all that means is like something that's super easy to overeat, right?
So you put it in your mouth, that should dissolve. Like I think that's almost the way that I like to think about it. Like you put it in your mouth and it dissolves. It's gone like that.
Think of like chips,
Like
or
cotton candy,
think
or-
of like
Chips,
candy,
sugar,
rice,
really something that's really
Krispies,
high sodium.
Pop-Tarts, things that
Yeah,
are,
that was
yeah,
great
exactly,
one the
things,
other day.
stuff that like just melts in your mouth, realistically, right?
Okay.
You don't have to really chew it.
So you want it true.
Yeah, so something that, like, I would say in general, like any super overly processed stuff like that, I do think that is causing, honestly, the obesity rates in America. Like, I think a lot of those super palatable foods is what keeps us addicted, and the people that are gaining from this are just the big mega corporations that are making this normal for people to have on a daily basis. Not only that, but making it super accessible to low-income families.
There's only like 4
that
conglomerate companies in your whole grocery store. You guys
Yeah.
should look into that, by the way.
I'm gonna move on before we create another Unabomber with fucking questions.
No.
No, but it's funny because I get triggered about this shit too. Because like the Mexican cuisine, a lot of Mexicans are overweight too. Because you bring this up, but it's like the Mexican cuisine is like a really good cuisine if you want to stay in shape. But we drink so much pop and use so much carbs, like in addition to it, that like so many Hispanic people are overweight
Yeah.
too. And
Americans do
that's
too.
my upset because the water brand in Mexico is CL. CL is owned by Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And everything, like water is not really easily accessible in Mexico. And so everyone drinks Coke. And then the only water that we have available is also Coke. And so that shit pisses me off. But
All the well water is contaminated,
yeah, well, but there's other things.
and the city water is.
What do you think?
Braun?
Braun?
I don't think Braun's. You
Braun's
can
got
see
chips,
Braun.
Braun's
Yeah.
eating chips, bro. He's not. This is why he's big and round. He's not really committed, bro. He's the laziest gym employee here.
He's the realest, bro. He's our overnight security, bro.
All right, so last question. So I think what we got, by the way, from my question originally was that just take baby steps, see what your body is used to, what it's not used to, and just kind of get yourself back to a baseline of like, hey, this is a routine that works for me, working out. But for someone who does want to go above and beyond and maybe go on a show or maybe powerlift, where should they go to? Who they should contact to get a consultation with that?
The Kage Gym. They can come to the Kage Gym. I mean, me and Omar both coach, but there's a ton of coaches here that we have in house. So honestly, it just depends on who you vibe well with. I mean,
That's the biggest thing.
all of us kind of have like a different form of coaching. I mean, in general, a lot of us learn off of each other. So, I mean, there's some things that I've learned from some of these guys. There's a lot of things that they've learned from me. So it just depends on like what it is you truly want from a coach. I'd say that's probably the biggest thing, whether you're looking for bodybuilding, prep, powerlifting, weight loss. I think it just depends on who you relate the most with, right?
It's all different means to the same end, at the end of the day. But ultimately, I think the biggest thing is like relationship, who you can build rapport with, who you vibe with best. Because like, I mean, it's going to be a pretty intimate relationship when it comes to like a coach. You're going to be sending them pictures of you shirtless, damn near naked. And you want to be comfortable with that person, and you know, so definitely just somebody that you can relate to, get along with well. It doesn't even have to be here at the Kage Gym. It can literally be anywhere. There's a million of good coaches. Whoever calls out to you, whoever you feel like their information makes the most sense to you, that you've seen they have good results with their clients, go with that person. Interview your coach the same way that they might interview you. You know, ask them questions about their methodologies, ask them questions about you know, their client results or testimonials, other clients, all that stuff. Like, make sure you ask questions and hire somebody that's credible, and you're not just throwing your money out the window, because there are also just a lot of PDF coaches out there still. Still PDF, coaches that will literally just send you a program. Like, they'll send you a nutrition plan, and they won't ever check on you, and they'll just send you a PDF, and that's it.
You guys got to change the name for that, man. PDF coaches. That's
ChatGPT coaches.
ChatGPT coaches, GPT coaches, PDF coaches. Yeah, same thing.
That's a weird point.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you, boys, for having me, and I hijacked today's episode. My name is Christian Days. I'll have something, hopefully, attached below, linking to me. But remember, if you're trying to get in shape, get your Z's, because it's just like the dentist said, I grind in my sleep. All right.
Hell yeah.
Type.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Thank you, guys.